what is the India growth story, what is happening in the India growth story. Our country's economy actually isn't that hard to understand, right? We're still a very poor country, and that makes India's macroeconomy actually quite straightforward to figure out. Because our macroeconomy is relatively straightforward to figure out, last year in March, where everybody was panicking, we were loading up big time on the next generation of Indian monopolists. We were telling the public, on TV channels, in our webinars, in our newsletters, that load up on India because we're going to see an economic boom in the next 2, 3, 4 years, right? Now, why were we so confident? Why did we stick our neck out, some would argue, in such an aggressive manner last March? The answer lies in this chart. The first version of this chart was published in middle of March last year. I remember the Sensex, the Nifty Sensex had gone gap down 12th or 13th March. We published it 7-8 days later, right? And this is when we said, load up on India big time, right? The simple point that I'll drive at in this chart is, our country's economy is so straightforward to understand that whenever America goes into recession in year T, in year T plus 1, our boom begins. By boom, I mean a period of rising economic growth, right? So let's go through that. Why does this happen and how can we benefit from it? The red chevrons in the chart are India's economic booms. We've had only 4. The dark gray areas that stand out, they are periods of recession in America. And you'll see, first you get the dark gray area and then you get the red chevron. So let's take it one by one. America went into recession 1979 because of the Gulf oil price, the oil price zipping up in the Gulf. There was the hostage crisis in Iran and so on. 79 to 81, America was in recession. 1982, India's first economic boom after independence started. It lasted 5 years. I was in school in Delhi, and I remember several of my classmates stopped using the school bus. First, they would come to school in Maruti cars, which in those days was an unimaginable luxury. And then a few of them, us zamane ke unusual billionaires, started coming to school in imported cars, right? It was unbelievable, right? And all happened in 5 years. The first 5-year economic boom in India, 82 to 87. America went into recession, 1990, Gulf War hua 91, 90 to 92, America was in recession, 90 to 92. 93, our second economic boom began. It lasted till 97. The East Asian crisis, the Russian crisis put paid to that. As everybody knows, America went to recession 2000, dot-com bust, agle saal 9/11, then Ketan Parekh scam in India. 2000 to 2002, America was in recession. 2003, 2004, our third economic boom began. That lasted till Lehman Brothers, 2008, fat gaya. 2008, America went into recession. India's last economic boom began 2009, it ended in 2011, right? So this rule, US recession T, Indian boom T plus 1, is a 100% success rate, 4 out of 4, right? Now, the reverse is also fascinatingly true. It does not matter what policies we announce in our country. If America does not go into recession, you don't get a boom in India, right? Now, why? Why is this? Why does this link exist? Now let's move to the two lines. The two lines in the chart, those lines contain the answer. The orange line is the price of crude oil, right? America is the world's largest user of crude. When America goes into recession, the price of crude falls by 50 to 80%. A 50 to 80% drop in the price of crude is around a 3% of GDP stimulus, gift to us, because we import oil, right? So first off, when oil got smashed from $85 to $0, we immediately did the maths and said 4% GDP we're getting gift from the world, right? That's an immediate boost. You don't have to do any science for that. Now, I think the government's done the right thing. They've kept the price of petrol or diesel at the pump same, or actually they've raised it a bit, and they've loaded up taxes on it. They're taking that money and funding the fisc, which I think is fine. But the boost to us is unquestionable. Basically, we get a free gift of 3-4% of GDP when oil gets smashed. The blue line now, that's the 10-year bond yield, US 10-year bond yield, right? It's been falling for our entire careers. Most specifically though, wherever there's a gray area, wherever there's a US recession, the US 10-year bond yields falls even more sharply. Because when America goes into recession, the Federal Reserve cuts rates. Typically in a US recession, the US 10-year bond yield falls 2.5%. When in a US recession, the US bond yield falls, US interest rates fall, the RBI passes it on to you and me because at that juncture, they don't have to worry about the current account deficit. Why? Because oil is already squashed. So an American recession, astonishingly, leads to 2.5% drop in cost of funding in our country.